Hello. So, I'm going to be presenting Finding the Right School. My name is Ruby Rapallo. I've been an Aggie mentor here at Rudder High for about 3 years now. This is my fourth year. I'm currently a senior at Texas A&M University, and I'm majoring in business management with a minor in psychology. And I'm also from Houston, Texas. So, yeah, let's just get into it. So, when deciding the school that you want to attend or trying to find the best one, you first have to find out what you're interested in. Some things that you can be interested in are business, engineering, writing, medicine, theater, law, or any of the arts. There are so many different subjects that you can possibly be interested in, and these are just some broad subjects that I used. There's also like, for example, within business, there's entrepreneurship, administration, there's management, there's finance, accounting, things like that. And with engineering, there's chemical engineering, mechanical, construction engineering, so many different subjects these within these categories. It's just a matter of finding which one is the best for you. Something that I like recommending to students is looking at course catalogs for their major. So, for example, for business management, if you were to Google business management, Texas A&M course catalog, it'll show you the courses that you'd be taking for that major specifically. And I like to do that to show students what to prepare themselves for because business can be kind of math heavy, not too much as for example finance would be, or a science major like biology or public health. It's not too math heavy as those, but it still can be very math heavy. And then for example other subjects like writing or English, it would be a lot of writing and a lot of discussion based classes. So there's just some things that students can prepare themselves for if you look at the courses you'd be taking beforehand. And so here are some schools that specialize in some of those interests in the previous slide. Just for Texas, I just looked up some basic ones that we're more familiar with. So for example, for business, University of Texas at Austin, A&M, and University of Houston tend to be the top ones that people look for or people look at first. And then for law, it's also University of Texas, Sam Houston, and Baylor. And for the arts, it tends to be Stephen F. Austin, as well as these other schools. I can't remember the full name to them right now, but yeah. Also, I have heard that University of Texas also is pretty good in the arts as well, and many students that want to major in theater tend to go to UT or Stephen F. Austin, at least from what I've heard of other students and even personal friends. But there's many schools that they don't necessarily have to specialize in these interests. It's just people tend to go to these schools if that's their main interest. However, you can go to any school and major in whatever you'd like. A lot of schools have majority of the same majors. I know that Texas Texas A&M doesn't have a film major, but Stephen F. Austin does have a film major, and so does UT. So some schools have different types of majors and some don't. However, some schools also allow you to make up your own major if they don't have your specific major. However, you do have to get that approved first. It's a whole process, but that's something interesting to know. Now it's all about choosing the right one. Remember that you will be living there at whatever school you choose if it's away from home. That means you'll need to know a lot about your home away from home in order to get adapted for the next 4 years or more, depending on what you study. And some factors to consider. There are so many factors to consider. For example, me is how far away is this school away from my hometown? I'm from Houston, so College Station wasn't that far away for me and made me feel a little more at ease because I do get homesick. And since it's just me and my mom, I like to know that I can frequently go visit her if I ever feel the need to, or if I ever just want to visit for the day, even. I've done that before, just gone for a day just to see my mom and my other family members. But yeah, that's something that you can consider too. How far away is it from home in case you want to visit frequently or you have things to do at home? Another thing to consider is how much will living on campus cost. I know that something important that you need to do as students is apply for FAFSA. That's something that we will push on you as much as we can because it's money that is offered to you from the government in order to help you, whether that be free money or borrowed money. But we'll get into that much later in the semester. But that's just something to also consider. How much will living on campus cost? Whether you're getting help from the government, whether you're getting help from banks, or sometimes some students will be paying out of pocket. And then, should you live on off campus? Sometimes living off campus can be much cheaper than living on campus, or it can be more convenient. It's on a case by case basis. Um, my freshman year, I had to live on campus because I received a scholarship and it required me to live on campus. But now that my freshman year is over, I decided that the best fit for me would be to live off campus because it is much cheaper than living on campus. And it's also more convenient with parking, which goes into my next subject. Will you need your own transportation? So, for me, for example, I knew coming in that I wanted to get my own part time job while attending school because I knew that I would need the money, so I decided to bring my own car, and honestly, living on campus with your own car kind of made it difficult. At least for me, I had to always walk from my dorm to the parking lot where my parking pass allowed my car to be parked because parking passes on campus are a whole different thing. Sometimes it's only for a certain lot, and so I would have to walk to that same lot every single time, and sometimes it'd be long. It could be a long walk sometimes, and it was just frustrating. So now that I live off campus, I don't need to worry about a parking pass. I just have to worry about my car here in my apartments. But yeah, that's something to take into consideration. Also, not just like for driving to your job, but also for groceries. I knew that I was going to be trying to cook as much as I could, even though freshman year I did have a meal plan because it's required when you live on campus. I did like to go and get my own groceries or snacks from like Walmart or HEB. And even though a lot of schools do offer transportation to students off and on and throughout the campus, such as the shuttle buses, which A&M does have, it sometimes could get difficult to schedule it in between the free time you have because the buses have certain times that they drive to each place, and that could get also iffy when you're trying to just squeeze things in between your already busy schedule. So, yeah. Another thing that I took into consideration choosing the school was what's the population like, mainly because I'm from the city, so I knew that I didn't want to be in a huge city. I've also lived in a small town before and I really loved how comfortable it felt. So when I first came to College Station, I immediately knew that I loved it because it felt just very cozy. And even though it's not too small, it's smaller than Houston, and I really appreciated that more. I also visited University of Texas at Austin and I didn't like it at all. There's maybe a few things that I liked that they had, like equipment that students could use on campus. But other than that, I didn't like how very densely populated it was because it is right in the city of Austin. And so those are some comparisons that I did for myself. Another thing to take into consideration is, will there be organizations I can join? Coming into or going into a new school, you want to find friends and find people that have similar interests as you. And a lot of schools offer different clubs and organizations you can join, kind of like high school does, except in college it's much more leveled up, you can say. It's so cool because you can really just have meetings and you can make friends that people with people that love the same things as you, and you can meet outside of school. I know in high school it's a little like, oh, you just meet on campus because you don't have your own car and transportation, or you have to ask your parents. But once you go to college, you're an adult and you get to do so much with your friends more than you would in high school, and it's a lot of fun. But moving on to, I know those were just a few questions and you might have more questions. I know I did. Here are some ways to get answers to those questions. So thankfully, there are many students who want to know more about their schools, and so there are many websites that can help you learn details about any school you'd like. My favorite website is collegegreenlight.com. Now, College Greenlight, this is how it'll roughly look. Here, the example I used was the University of Texas at Austin. And so here you can see some quick facts about the school, like how many students they have, how many were admitted based on enrollment, how much it costs to attend. So the tuition per year. These are rough estimates. It can change, either increase or decrease. And it also just depends on what you're studying too. Some classes can cost more and some classes can be cheaper. So, but this is just like an average estimate that they have. But as you can see, it shows you different details here to the left. It even has reviews. Where is it? It even has, yeah, student reviews right here from students that attended or are currently attending. And then the website also lets you make a profile of yourself, and it'll determine like how much that school will best fit you based on the profile you created and your interests. And then you can also look at how the campus life is. So what this means is like what type of restaurants they might have on campus, or sometimes campuses will have stores. I know A&M has like an Apple store at the MSC and a Barnes and Noble, and just we also have like a Panda Express, Chick-fil-A is on campus, things like that. And then it also tells you things that there are to do around town. So for A&M, we have different stores on or restaurants near University Drive. We have a new movie theater called Star Cinema Grill, which lets you, it's like a restaurant but also a movie theater, and it's really nice. We also have Sweet Paris now, a creperie place that you can go eat at. There's so many different places. I My favorite place to think of is University Drive because majority of the restaurants there are either from Austin or from Houston, and so that's my best place to like find any new places I want to eat at and things like that. But yeah, you can always look at these for schools that you're interested in, and it's not just for Texas; it's also for schools out of state. I don't know if they have schools out of the country, but I just know for sure it's here in Texas and out of state. And then you can also always ask us for help if you want to learn more about a school and you don't want to look at it yourself, or you don't know what you want to ask or what you want to find out about certain schools. We're always here to help. And if you end up not liking College Greenlight, there's also capex.com, or you can look directly on the school's website. It should have a majority of the information on there as well. And now moving on to alternative options. So, four-year universities can be a huge commitment. And let's say you don't know what you want to study yet, but you do want to go to school to try and figure it out. There are many options that you can choose. You don't have to go straight into a four-year university. Sometimes it's not the best fit for everybody, and that's okay. Um, if we're still on the subject of schools, here are the two other options that you could get into. But also, don't worry if you're not interested at school at all. There's also the workforce, just going directly into the workforce after high school. But that's for another slide. I just want to let you know just in case. But yeah, so the two schools that you can also look into are community college and technical schools. Now, I'm going to be doing a little comparison here. For community college, it gives you time to study what you want to study. So community college can be from 1 up to 2 years or more, really, just depending on how long it takes you to study. Because community college doesn't necessarily require you to take a lot of classes. You can take 1 or 2 classes a semester. Community college can be very flexible in that aspect. You don't have to be full time, it can be part time. So that's nice. I have a cousin who didn't finish their basic classes in community college until about 4 years because they were also working full time. So they just did school on the side. You just have to choose whatever fit fits fits you best and whatever is more convenient for you at the time. You don't there's no rush to finish school, you know. It's all on you, whatever you would like. But another upside about community college is that it is cheaper than a four-year university would be. Um, a little comparison I can do for myself is a class at A&M can one class can be about $900 to $1,200, whereas at a community college a class can be $200 to $400. So you see the large disparity in that. It's very different. It's very more increased at a university than at a community college. And another thing about community college, as I mentioned before with my cousin, is that it does allow you to stay at home a little longer, and you can stay. Um, my cousin ended up staying like living at home with his mom and his dad, and he was able to save more money that way because he didn't have to move out yet or go anywhere. He could just, stay at home. But you can also do this if you go to university in your hometown. You can also stay at home too, unless you want to get that experience of moving out. It all just depends on you. And at a community college, you can also get an associate's degree. So, an associate's degree is basically a 2-year degree after you take a certain amount of classes for whatever subject you studied in. And an associate's degree is kind of like, um, I don't, well, it basically allows you to get paid a little more than you would with just a high school diploma, but it's still less than you would get paid with a bachelor's degree. But you still get an increase in pay, so that's good. And now technical schools give you the opportunity to get certified in a specific area of interest that you would like to pursue. For example, welding or cosmetology, um, wedding planning, things like that, even fashion design. You can get certified in different areas. It just depends on what technical schools you're looking into. I know that there have been some students here at Redder who were looking into becoming chefs. You can take courses in culinary arts and get certified, things like that. So this is where technical schools are could be better for you if you already know what you want to study, you already know what you want to work in, and you just want to sharpen those skills or learn those skills more. You could just go straight into technical school. And technical school is also a very different experience from university and college because it does let you focus exactly in what you want to do in the future. But something that I want you all to remember is there is no right or wrong option. Just choose what you feel is best for you. The College and Career Center is always here to help you if you feel a little lost or confused. We're also here just to give you advice, or if you just want an extra opinion on something, we've all had some type of experience. We have Miss Cruz here, who is a college graduate herself, and you also have 3 Aggie mentors who are currently all in college and have already been in college for about 4 years now. So we can probably give you a little intel on something that you want to know. And if we maybe might not have experienced it ourselves, we probably have had friends or relatives who have, and we can give you that information too, just so you have an extra on it. But yeah, we're here for you as a resource, and we want you to take advantage of us. But other than that, thank you so much for watching my presentation. I hope you follow us on our social media. We have an Instagram at RudderCCC, and you can also email us at rudderccc@gmail.com. I also recently made a website for you guys to look at. It's rudderccc.card with 2 R's and .co, C-O, not .com, just .co. And I can actually show you guys the website really quick as a little extra. So here's the website. It just introduces you, and right here you can directly email us, and right here it takes you directly to our Instagram. But here I put some resources for you, such as volunteer opportunities, clubs and orgs that you can join at Rudder, some entrance exams that you might want to look into if you do want to go to college, scholarship websites, fun things like that. And then we have an SAT exam coming up that's free for students. I believe well, actually, I don't remember. The deadline is October 14th. Or no, it'll be on October 14th. But if you're interested in taking it, I would come register here because it is free and it's going to be offered to take on campus. So that's a little more convenient. And here are some other scholarships that are currently active. These are all the deadlines for them. And I also put our profiles for the Aggie Mentors. So here's me and my little profile and what I tutor in. And here are the other Aggie Mentors, so Jennifer and Daniel. And yeah, and if you want to schedule an appointment with any of us, you can always just email us right here by clicking on the button or just typing out our email, however you'd like. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you all have a good day. Thank you.